So I am going to get started, and please introduce yourself, tell everybody where you're coming in from, tell everybody why you're interested in networking, and maybe drop your LinkedIn profile in there. Welcome everyone to Networking Like a Pro, Get Noticed, Get Hired. My name is Erin Aldridge Sheen. I am the founder of Ascension Coaching and Consulting, and we are all things career at Ascension. Whether you're looking to land your next dream job, level up in your career, or lead with impact, we're here to help you to those goals. And today, I'm going to be taking you through such an important topic when it comes to your career, networking. These presentations that I do on LinkedIn Live are one of my favorite parts of what I do as a coach because it allows me to give back to my community and provide value in your lives. So today, I'm going to teach you how to network effectively, make meaningful connections, and open doors to new opportunities. Whether you're actively job searching, or you're looking to grow your professional presence, or maybe you just want to be more strategic in your networking efforts. This session is going to help equip you to be actionable towards your goals. You will see a QR code in the bottom left-hand side of your screen, and this is for a networking book that I put together just for you who are attending so that you can start planning your networking strategy. So feel free to grab it here, but if you miss it, no worries, because it's going to be on the final slide of this presentation as well. So there will be other opportunities to get it. Since this session is all about networking, I mentioned it just a second ago, but let's put it into practice right away. I want to encourage you to connect with at least one other participant here today. So drop a quick introduction in the chat of who you are, share your LinkedIn profile, and maybe why you're here to learn about networking. Because the best way to grow your network is to start engaging, and this webinar is the perfect opportunity for you to do so. So maybe if you find someone else who is looking for a job and maybe they have that green open to work banner on their profile as well, I think those are the best people to engage with each other, because this is a chance for you guys to share your networks with each other. And obviously there's a lot of empathy between the two of you. So 2 networks is always better than 1. The goal here, because it's a networking webinar, is for you guys to all end this session with at least one other connection that you can rely on for this process. So that's the goal. And I'm going to try to remember at the end of this session to ask how we've all done on that. So let's dive in. All right, so we have a lot to cover in the next 45 minutes. I'm a little nervous I'm not going to be able to get through it all, but we're going to be talking about why networking is essential, the 3 levels of networking, transactional versus transformational networking, the networking framework and strategic plan, leveraging LinkedIn and keeping your network warm, so important, the follow-up formula, common networking mistakes, networking for career growth and business growth. And then finally, I'm going to give you an action plan and some key takeaways. By the end of this session, you're going to have a clear strategy to build and maintain meaningful connections that are going to help you advance your career and even your business, if you have one. So a few days ago, in preparation for this webinar, I asked you all to share your struggle, what you struggle with the most when it comes to networking, and here are the results. It could have changed in the last few minutes, but this is what I grabbed about last night. So the biggest challenge, which affects nearly a third of you, it's a big chunk, is knowing what to say when reaching out. And this is completely understandable. Starting a conversation, especially with someone that you don't know and that's new, can feel really intimidating. And 29% of you said that making networking pay off is really a struggle. I hear this all the time with my clients who feel like it's just a lot of work to put into a task of networking when you may not see the benefits right away, or maybe you just can't feel that progress. It doesn't feel tangible. It's not as measurable as maybe the feeling that you get when you say, I'm going to apply for 100 jobs, and then you complete that task and you feel accomplished. What I will tell you is that networking is going to pay off far more than dropping your resume on a job board. And another 29% find following up without awkwardness to be difficult. It feels like you're in high school again, right? It feels tricky to follow up in a way that feels natural and not pushy, just that awkward social environment. And then finally, 10% of you mentioned staying consistent and growing your network is a challenge. It's one thing to make that initial connection, but maintaining and expanding those relationships takes strategy and intentional effort. So the good news is that we're going to tackle each one of these challenges today so that you can leave this session with actionable steps to improve your networking game. So let's talk about why networking is such a powerful tool for career growth. As the saying goes, your network is your net worth. And here's why. 85% of jobs are filled through networking. And that 85% really increases to about 90 or 95% the higher you go in your career. So executives, I would say more like 90 to 95% jobs are filled through networking. This means that opportunities come from relationships, not just job boards. And this is an issue when candidates are looking for the jobs these days. As I mentioned before, they spend about 85% of their time on job boards, when really 85% of their time or more should be spent setting up calls and networking. Those quick 15-minute coffee chats, so important. Most job openings, which, it's about 70 to 80%, are never posted publicly. This is what's considered the hidden job market. So these jobs are often filled through referrals and connections, which is why networking is so critical. You can't get to those 70 to 80% of those jobs that are not posted unless you're networking. Candidates who are referred by someone inside the company are 4 times more likely to be hired. Huge advantage to get a referral to get in. Yet despite all of these powerful statistics, 49% of professionals don't network at all. That's crazy. I mean, that like blows my mind, right? This means that nearly half of all people are missing out on one of the most effective career boosting strategies. So what's the takeaway? The takeaway is that networking isn't just helpful, it's absolutely essential and critical for uncovering opportunities and accelerating your career. And remember this quote: success isn't about what you know, but who you know. So the connections that you build can open doors that skills and experience alone cannot. Now I want to explore how to build those connections strategically. My friends, not all networking is the same. There are different levels of networking, each serving a unique purpose. So let's break them down into these 3 categories on the screen. The first one is personal networking. This includes friends, family, social circles. These connections are really valuable because they already know and trust you. You never know when a friend might introduce you to a key opportunity or provide a referral. This is part of why your network is so incredibly important. And this part of your network specifically consists of a lot of what I call champions. So I always talk to my clients about champions and kind of those movers and shakers. This is the champions bucket. Then there's professional networking. This includes colleagues, mentors, and industry peers. These are people who really understand your field. They can offer guidance and they may connect you to new opportunities within your industry. Think about past and current coworkers, clients, or alumni networks when you think of this category. And then finally, there's strategic networking. This is where you build relationships with high-value connections, decision makers, and thought leaders. These are people who can influence your career or business growth. They're people like senior executives, investors, or top industry professionals. Strategic networking requires intentional effort and it adds a ton of value to the relationship. So strategic networking is that bucket when I said movers and shakers. Those are the people that are on LinkedIn and they're constantly posting, they're influential, they're decision makers, they are people that are influencers in the space. Each of these categories, you need to have a list of people that you can start targeting for those quick informational interviews, coffee chats, what have you. So again, to maximize your networking success, you need to be active in all three of these levels. So you need to be asking yourself, which of these do I currently focus on the most? I would guess it's probably going to be personal and professional networking, but you tell me what it is, and what category is the biggest opportunity for growth. So I stress this to all my clients that networking is a two-way street, right? It is not transactional, and you need to continually remind yourself of this. There's a big difference between transactional networking and transformational networking. Transactional networking is what most people do, right? And it's why networking is so daunting, I think, because people think of it as a transactional thing. They reach out only when they need something. But when they take this approach, it really makes the relationship feel one-sided, and it becomes only about themselves, and they fail to build an actual relationship with the other person, and they forget to follow up. This makes their network get cold. And then there's transformational networking, and this is where the real opportunities happen. It's about building long-term, meaningful relationships. So here's how you do it. You want to lead with value. Ask yourself how you can help this person before thinking about what it is that they can do for you. Focus on relationships, not transactions. Aim to build trust and rapport with these people rather than just exchanging business cards or LinkedIn connections. This is something that I really try to be strategic about in my own network. If you just send me a LinkedIn request and I don't know you, I'm likely not to accept it. I want to accept LinkedIn requests from people who want something, want a conversation, they have something to add as far as value is concerned. I'm very careful about who I allow into my LinkedIn network for this reason. And the reason that I do that is really more for my clients than myself. I want to make sure that I am sharing my network with my clients. And so it's really important that my network is really strong and that it's very warm, and that it's people that I know, so that I can make those introductions. The key takeaway here is that networking is about planting seeds, right? It's not just making withdrawals. So the more you invest in the relationships, the more doors will open for you. And I want to stress also with that it is really, really important to make sure that you are, over time, even when you're not looking for a job or when you're not in need, that you're continually nurturing your network. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit in the next few slides, about making sure that you stay on a system of nurturing your network, because it's not an overnight thing. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Now that we understand the difference between transactional and transformational networking, let's walk through a simple 4-step networking framework that it's going to help you to build meaningful connections effectively. Step 1 is going to be to approach with confidence. A lot of people, including those who come to me, hesitate to initiate conversations because they fear rejection or awkwardness. The key is to have a simple introduction prepared, such as something that says, "Hi, I am Erin, and I am exploring making a career pivot," for example. "I've seen a few posts that you've made on LinkedIn that have been really interesting to me, so I'd love to learn more about your career. Would you be open to a 15-minute coffee chat?" You really have to approach networking with curiosity rather than pressure. So that's a more warm way to try to get someone to jump on the phone. And if someone sends, something like that to me, then I am much more likely to engage, because I get the opportunity to meet them and to know them. Step 2, you want to ask engaging questions. So instead of just talking about your career, you want to focus on learning about the other person. Ask open-ended questions. This is something that we get really good at as coaches. Especially if you are a coach that is ICF certified, you learn to ask open-ended questions and be curious. What inspired you to get into this field? Talk to me about your job. What is it that you've liked the most about your work? What's a recent project that you're really excited about? This makes the conversation flow naturally, and it helps build rapport. People love sharing insights and feeling like they're contributing. So asking an open-ended question will get people talking. Open-ended meaning not a yes or a no question, because that's just a dead end, right? So open-ended, they have to share some insight with you. Step 3 is you want to provide value first. So before asking for anything, think about how you can help the other person. Maybe you can share a relevant article, or you can offer an introduction, or you can provide an insight. The more you give, the more people will want to stay connected with you. And then finally, step 4, follow up and stay connected. This is keeping your network warm, right? The real power of networking comes from consistent follow-ups. So send a quick message after meeting someone, connect on LinkedIn, or share a resource related to your conversation. Keeping a network warm over time is what turns simple introductions into a long-term professional connection. All right, I am sharing my LinkedIn profile here, and I wanted to just point something out real quick. So if you go to the settings and privacy section, you will see data privacy, and you can get a copy of your data. So this is just really important because occasionally I will download my data, and I'll go through all the people that I'm connected with. So this is going to spit it out in like a CSV format in a Excel document, and it's going to give you the ability to sort and filter your network the way that you want to. So you can highlight people that you really want to get back in touch with in green. You can highlight your champions in a certain color. You can really just kind of filter all of your network the way that you want it. So you'll request the archive. Your download will be ready in about 24 hours. It'll be ready in a couple minutes. I think they just say that just to make sure that you're, if it does take longer, it's not a big deal. But you request the archive, and then it comes to you in a CSV format. Let's see if we can get a real quick delivery of it. If not, I will just move on to the next thing. Okay, it might take a little bit longer than normal, but that is how you grab your data, and it's really easy to sort and filter the screen to the things that it is that you're looking for. So once you figure out who you want to connect with, then you can start keeping track of the date that you talked to them, what it is that you talked about, when your follow-up date is, the things that were interesting to them so that you remember, maybe they mentioned their birthday or what have you, just little things that you learned by talking to them. Awesome. Okay, we're going to move on to the next slide. So we've covered the process of networking. Now let's talk about creating a strategic plan to make your network work for you. Step 1 is going to be defining your network goals. So before you attend events or reach out to people, you're going to want to ask yourself, what do I want to achieve? So find a mentor, land a job, grow my business. These are all different things that you can figure out what you want to achieve. All right. So again, maybe your goal before you go to a networking event is to find a mentor, to land a job, or grow your business. You want to think about who you should connect with in order to reach this goal. What about what industries, roles, or communities should you focus on? So having clear goals before you go to an event or before you hop on the phone with someone helps you network with intention rather than just going there and then hoping for the best. And then number 2, your elevator pitch. So an elevator pitch is a concise and engaging way to introduce yourself. This is something that, it is what it is. So you get on an elevator and you have about 30 seconds to tell someone in an elevator who you are, what you do, and what value you bring. There's a simple formula that you can craft your pitch. You can say, I help someone solve a problem through some sort of a solution. So an example of that would be, I help small business owners grow their online presence through digital marketing strategies. And you can make it a little bit longer. Like it can be a little bit more in depth. Just don't make it super long. It needs to be something that you really have dialed in. Having a strong pitch makes it easier to start conversations and leave those lasting impressions. There are probably some of you in here who are completely happily employed and are simply here to get a few tips about keeping your network strong so that you can grow in your career. And that is extremely wise. I'm glad that you came, because LinkedIn isn't just for job seekers. It's the world's largest professional network platform with over 900 million users. So the topic on who to let into your network is a really tricky one. In fact, there are probably some people on this call or this webinar who were in a mastermind that I set up a few days ago, and we talked about how do you know who to let into your networks? And everyone had a different opinion. So my opinion was and is that I want to keep my network as tight as possible. I want to allow people into my network that I know or that I've met. Doesn't mean that I can't meet new people. In fact, if I get a LinkedIn request and they give me a really good reason as to why we should connect and ask me for 15 minutes of my time, I'm much more likely to take on that request, right? But if someone just tries to connect with me, I probably won't accept that request, simply because I want my network to work for people that I work with, right? If that makes sense. That's a lot of works. But I want my clients to know that if they want to meet someone in my network, that I'm really likely to be able to introduce them to those people. So I'm going to assume that we all have different opinions on how we manage our network. So I'm just going to go through the rest of this slide with kind of a generic who you should invite into your network. You want to invite industry peers, people in your field who can share insights and opportunities. Maybe you set up a monthly mastermind of people who can share insights, and it happens the first Monday of every month, and you invite 10 peers into this mastermind. Great idea, right? That way you're staying connected with people who are like-minded. Additionally, for those of you who are in a job search, invite 10 people who are in a job search into a mastermind on the job search process, right? It can be hugely helpful to have that support, and you guys can, utilize and leverage each other's networks. Again, 2, 3, 4, 5 networks is way better than one. There are also thought leaders. These people are experts in your field and who post content and perspectives that can help you grow, right? You probably follow a lot of people like this. And then there are people in roles and companies that you admire. This helps you expand your circle and learn from professionals who are where you want to be, where you want to go. So a few tips to help you engage effectively are to comment meaningfully on posts. Don't just like or add value by sharing. Don't just like and then just leave it alone, right? You want to add value by sharing your thoughts. Side note, oftentimes the rule of thumb when you make comments on people's posts is to make it 13 words or more. I've heard 14 and 15, but in general, 13 words or more. That increase your chances of the algorithm on LinkedIn working for you. In other words, LinkedIn will boost your posts if you post 13 words or more, because that's a little bit more substantial than just saying like, yay, or I like it, or good job, So try to think of ways that you can make a little bit longer posts. Doesn't have to be super long, but it just needs to be long enough to make the algorithm work for you. You'll also want to share industry insights. So you want to post valuable content, which will position you as that thought leader. If you're looking for a job and you're not posting, you need to really reconsider that. Create a content plan on LinkedIn. Maybe, on Monday you post, a poll on some topic. On Wednesday, you write an article. On Friday, you are really making it a point to go comment and share and post other people's content. And then you want to send thoughtful DMs, direct messages. Instead of just sending a connection request, you want to include a short personalized message about why you'd like to connect. Use generative AI to help you come up with something creative. Okay. We have generative AI, use it. So understand this, the key to LinkedIn is consistency. Okay. You're not going to get to the goal and what it is that you want by posting 1 or 2 or 3 times. It needs to be consistent week over week. Send, or spend 10 to 15 minutes a day engaging with posts. Even if you just start out with 5 minutes a day, I'm going to open LinkedIn. I'm going to start engaging with posts. That's what hashtags are for. If you use a hashtag for a specific topic like customer engagement, you're going to come up with a lot of people posting on customer engagement if that's your area of expertise or the area that you want to become an expert. Reach out, share your insights, and over time, this will build strong, authentic relationships that can really open doors for you and maybe help you to get to that hidden job market that I talked about before. 4 minutes. So one of the biggest mistakes people make in networking is only reaching out when they need something. I talked about this briefly a few minutes ago about the two-way street, right? The key to long-term success is keeping your network warm by maintaining those relationships over time. So here are a few simple yet powerful ways to do that. You want to check in every few months. Send a quick message asking how they're doing or referencing a past conversation. It doesn't have to be formal. Just staying in touch matters. Have that spreadsheet that I just talked to you about, that I showed you on LinkedIn about how to download your data. Have that spreadsheet ready to document everything you spoke about in your last meeting, the date you met, when you want to follow up next. It'll help you stay organized in this process. It'll give you that pre-prepared spreadsheet from LinkedIn will allow you to adjust columns, add columns. You can create it how you want it to keep you organized. The goal is just to keep yourself organized. You also want to congratulate people on the milestones, right? Those milestones that you see. Someone has a work anniversary or a birthday, whether someone gets a promotion, they start a new role, or they achieve a big goal. Just take that moment to acknowledge it with a thoughtful note. And then you want to offer introductions. One of the best ways that you can add value is by connecting people in your network who might benefit from knowing each other. Okay, so think about a few people in your network. Maybe, you see someone with that green open to work banner on there. Take some time to be like, hey, Mark, I see that you're open to work. Is there anyone that I can introduce you to in my network? It goes a long way. And then share relevant insights. If you come across an article, a podcast, or event that a connection would find valuable, send it their way. Share it to your network. It shows that you're thinking about them and you're trying to provide value to those people who are seeing your network or your profile in their feed. Okay, so one of the things when I'm working with clients that I love my clients to do is pick a podcast, pick something that is relevant to what they want to brand themselves as or talk about. Listen to a podcast a day. It will really start to get those wheels turning on content that you can share on LinkedIn. And I know I talk a lot about keeping your network warm, but I'm going to double up on this idea and stress the importance of the follow-up. Follow up, follow up, follow up. So many people struggle with this step, but it's really a matter of how organized you are with your network or getting over that feeling of feeling really awkward about it. This is where the spreadsheet comes in handy. You filter that column of the follow-up date and you sort it so that the date that's closer to today is at the top, and you make sure that you don't miss those dates. You also want to follow up within 24 hours after meeting someone. This keeps the interaction fresh and it shows that you are genuinely interested. So you have that coffee chat, follow up with them after that. And here's the 3-step follow-up strategy that I put together. First, you want to personalize it. Reference something specific about your conversation. This makes your message feel really authentic rather than generic. You also want to add value, offer something useful like an article related to your discussion or an introduction to someone in your network. And then stay consistent. Keep in touch periodically. That's what the spreadsheet is for. A quick check-in every few months can keep the relationship warm. You guys, just in case you didn't know, we have this thing called generative AI now. So if you're getting writer's block or you can't think of something creative to say, you literally have zero excuse now. Truly, you have zero excuse, because it is so easy to craft messages. And obviously you don't want to just like ask generative AI what to say and then copy and paste it in. You want to read and make sure it's accurate and that it sounds personal, like it's come from you. But use generative AI for these kinds of things. Something like, hey, Brian, it was great meeting you at the Marketing Mania conference yesterday. I just made that up. I really enjoyed our conversation about disruption in the marketing industry with AI. Here's an article I mentioned in our conversation. I think you'll find it really insightful. Let's keep in touch. All right. By making your posts, your follow-ups personal, valuable, and consistent, you turn those one-time interactions into long-term relationships. And the mistakes, because there are so many of them. Even the most well-intentioned professionals make mistakes with networking that can limit their success. So here are a few of those common mistakes that people make. Number one, not networking at all is clearly the number one mistake, and hopefully that goes without saying. But not preparing a clear elevator pitch. So if you haven't spent time really thinking about what your elevator pitch is, if you can't clearly articulate who you are and what you do, it's harder for people to remember who you are or to refer you to opportunities, right? They need to know what your brand is. Another one is only reaching out when you need something. Again, this is the two-way street thing. This makes networking feel transactional instead of relationship driven. So remember that networking is mostly about giving. It's not about receiving. And so if you can make that mindset shift, you're going to see so much progress. Make that mindset shift of like, how can I be a blessing to other people's lives? That is number one. How can I be a blessing to other people's lives? Another one is forgetting to follow up. Meeting someone is just the first step, but staying in touch is what turns a connection into an opportunity. And then finally, not engaging on LinkedIn or in professional communities. If you're not active in your industry's digital or in-person spaces, you're missing out on key conversations and relationships. So how do we fix all this? Well, if you recognize yourself in any of these mistakes, it's okay, right? We're here to learn. The good news is that with small adjustments like refining your pitch, following up more consistently, or engaging regularly, you can quickly turn your networking efforts into real opportunities, right? It's literally making those micro changes. So baby steps to get yourself back on the right track. And if you're looking to advance your career or land a new job, I would argue that networking is the most powerful tool at your disposal. Remember how I told you about the hidden job market, that 70 to 80% of jobs aren't publicly posted? Well, how do you expect to find those jobs if you aren't spending time talking to people in order to access the hidden opportunities? So here's how to use your networking strategically to land a job. Connect with people in your target companies. Don't just apply online. Identify people in those companies that you're interested in, and connect with them or follow them on LinkedIn, engage with their content, start conversations to get on their radar. When you connect with them, just do me a favor and don't simply connect, right? It just doesn't work. Write them a personal message, ask for a quick coffee chat to meet them, engage with them in person, right? Engage with hiring managers' posts. So if you're following a hiring manager and they post, you should be one of the first people to respond to that post, right? Many recruiters and hiring managers post jobs, job updates and insights. So by commenting thoughtfully on those posts, you increase your visibility, establish yourself as a knowledgeable and engaged professional. And then number 3, set up informational interviews. So important. Reach out to professionals in your field for a 15 to 20-minute chat to learn about their career and the company culture for where they work. These conversations can lead to referrals and job leads. Here's a tip. Instead of asking, are you hiring? Try, I admire your work at Google and would love to learn more about your experience. Would you be open to a quick chat? This approach builds a relationship rather than just making it a cold job request. That's a no-no. All right, we are nearing the end, and I am going to give you an action plan because networking is only valuable if you consistently apply what you've learned. I want to challenge you to commit to these five actions starting today. Number one, download your data from LinkedIn and build your networking spreadsheet. This will help you get started and organized in your networking efforts. Number two, I want you to reach out to 3 to 5 people in your network this week and set up that coffee chat to re-engage them. This could be reconnecting with an old colleague, sending a LinkedIn message to someone new, or following up from a past conversation that you feel like you kind of accidentally let slip through the cracks. Number three, attend a professional event next month. This can be either virtual or in person. So if you were like, I am horrible in person, I need to sit behind a screen, well, hopefully we can get past that and we can understand why that is. But if it is that, then it is what it is. And you need to at least attend one event this next month, whether it's an industry conference, webinar, local networking meetup. Make it a goal to meet new people and expand your circle. You can do it online. Number four, make 3 valuable posts on LinkedIn every week. It could be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but set up a content calendar for posting on LinkedIn to create a brand for yourself. And that actually might be the next webinar that I host, is a personal branding webinar, because it's so important, right? You want to position yourself as a thought leader by sharing useful content, insights, or lessons learned. It increases your visibility and it strengthens your professional brand. So there is some intersection between networking and branding, but it might be useful if I do a session that is completely on branding so that you can understand the power of branding and how it's done. Number 5, you want to follow up with someone from this webinar with a quick phone call or email to see how you can help, right? How can you help? Networking is about mutual support. So reach out, ask how you can help, and start building real relationships. I hope all of you are on this webinar and you're all going to walk away with a new connection, a new little friend from LinkedIn. It's the goal. All right, before we wrap up, let's go over the key takeaways from today's session. First, networking is a long game, right? I've mentioned this. It is a marathon, not a sprint. So you must build relationships over time, not just contacts. It's not about collecting business cards or LinkedIn connections. It's about forming genuine, lasting relationships that bring value over time. The best opportunities come from consistency. The people who see real success in networking are the ones who engage regularly. They follow up. They stay visible in their professional circles. Small, consistent actions lead to big results. Think about the book Atomic Habits. Tiny little actions make big change. Your follow-up is what sets you apart. Okay, and most people don't follow up. So if you make it a habit to check in, you need to add value, stay connected, and you'll stand out and build meaningful connections that open doors. So when it comes to networking, remember that tomorrow you're going to wish that you had started today. Many of you are in this job search process and you're like, oh my gosh, why didn't I nurture a better network, a bigger network earlier? Because really right now I need it. Woo! We did it. We did it. Thank you all for joining today's session. What are the next steps, you may ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. You want to implement 3 networking strategies from today's session. Pick the ones that resonate with you the most and put them into practice this week. Follow me on LinkedIn if you aren't already. I am always releasing new content and freebies. So if you follow me, you'll be the first to know. And then, scan the QR code to download the Networking Workbook, which includes templates, scripts, and action steps that you can use to refine your networking skills. This isn't going to be like the Bible or gold, but it is going to help to start you moving in the right direction and to get your thoughts and your brain moving forward. My final thought is that networking is about planting seeds that will grow into opportunities tomorrow. Just don't wait another day. Take action this week, and start today. Start now. So I hope you'll join me next time, and good luck, everyone. Thanks so much.